Welcome to the Inc. Productivity Tip of the Day. Today's tip. Psychologists worry that we're talking about nature less. An expert opinion by Jessica Stillman. Scientists aren't sure how many species exist in the world. Expert estimates range from 3 million all the way up to 100 million. But while scientists still don't know how many species the planet hosts, they are sure that they're disappearing up to 1,000 times the natural rate from pre-human times. Between 200 and 2,000 species go extinct each year. The loss of so many beetles, birds, and bacteria is desperately sad, but it's far from the full extent of our loss. A new study analyzing how many terms authors use for the natural world shows that the vocabulary we use to describe the it is declining just as precipitously. You might think that's a concern only for adventure guides and biologists, but psychologists and other scientists are sounding the alarm too. If we fail to fight back, the shrinking of our vocabulary for nature portends terrible things for our mental, physical, and social health, they say. The central insight behind this new research, recently published in the journal Earth, is simple. How much people think and talk about nature should be reflected in the books we read and write, and those are, helpfully, available for analysis. So, University of Derby psychologist Miles Richardson pulled a ton of data from Google Books and Gramviewer to check. How was the frequency of everyday nature-related words like river, blossom, and beak changed in a sample of books from 1850 to 2019? His results are now out and they are grim. Richardson wrote, "These words reflect what people noticed, valued, and wrote about, and when their use is plotted over time, a clear decline of around 60% is revealed." You might wonder if the steep fall in the number of nature words we use might be down to the specific books or words Richardson chose. But he's not the first to find that our vocabularies for the natural world are shrinking. Another 2017 study found references to nature have been decreasing steadily in fiction books, song lyrics, and film storylines. Another 2019 study revealed children these days know far fewer words for plants and animals than older generations. It found that 83% of British children can't identify a bumblebee, for instance. Alarmed botanists have invented the term plant blindness to describe how little people know and pay attention to the living green things around them. Richardson's downward trend line for our nature vocabulary also closely matches a theoretical model for human-nature connection he built using data on the types of environments in which families live and raise kids. Both show we're growing much more disconnected. So why should I care how many words for nature I use? Well, there is pretty strong evidence that people both know fewer nature-related words and find fewer and fewer occasions to use these words. It's natural that botanists would feel discouraged. But if you're an average, everyday entrepreneur, why should you care? In his classic 1977 essay, Why Look at Animals?, John Berger wrote, "With their parallel lives, animals offer man a companionship which is different from any offered by human exchange. Different because it is a companionship offered to the loneliness of man as a species. Looking and talking about the animals around us," he argues, helped humans understand ourselves, feel less alone, and be more humble and connected. As we become more isolated from them, we've lost the feeling of being interwoven with something larger. The result is a special kind of existential loneliness. That concern might sound airy-fairy to a hard-nosed business type, but a mountain of science suggests the loneliness described by Berger does real-world harm. Studies show that a connection with nature helps people be physically, mentally, and socially healthier. Spending time with nature has been linked with less depression, more creativity, faster healing, and even greater productivity. Nature can even slow down our sense of time frantically passing, rejuvenate our exhausted brains, reduce healthcare costs, and nudge us to make healthier lifestyle choices. As Richardson told The Guardian, nature connectedness is vitally important for our own mental health. Okay, what should I do about it? When data-driven tech giant Amazon expanded its Seattle headquarters, It splashed out on more than 40,000 plants for the new expanded campus. Jeff Bezos isn't a design fanatic. This is the guy who famously worked from a cheap door screwed to basic table legs for years. Clearly, someone at Amazon was convinced by the research showing exposure to nature makes people happier, calmer, and more successful. In light of this latest study illustrating how our increasingly tenuous connection to nature is robbing us of our very words for the living world around us, entrepreneurs might want to take similar actions if on a smaller scale than Amazon. That starts with getting outside more, however you can, and paying more attention to the world around you when you do. Research shows just 2 hours a week spent in nature can have a significant impact. You could also try to learn the names for the animals and plants around you. There are free apps to help. Add more plants and natural materials to your workspace or office complex. Read more about the natural world. Walk barefoot. Get involved or sponsor a conservation project in your local community. Take a short awe walk to consciously appreciate the wonder of the natural world. Encourage your kids to spend more time in nature. Schedule more walking meetings outside. Get into gardening. The bottom line is our connection to the natural world, and our vocabulary for nature is eroding. That's bad for us, bad for the planet, and even bad for business. You don't need to become a wilderness guide to reverse this trend. Start in small ways in your local area. Your brain and your bottom line will thank you. That's it from Inc. You can find more expert advice from today's top business coaches and thought leaders at Inc.com. Be sure to come back tomorrow morning for another tip from Inc.